I made this video a couple of days ago called The State of Tekken 8, in which I essentially outlined almost everything that is completely arse about this game. Today, I want to actually make a more productive video than me just calling this game arse.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Because I could genuinely do that all day, and there's no real point to doing that. So I am going to figure out exactly how to fix all of the main concerns in this game. And also one thing you're probably not expecting, this is how to fix Tekken 8. The one thing that needs to be addressed as a matter of urgency is heat. I know this sounds super obvious, but stay with me. In my opinion, heat needs a complete rework. The way that it currently works is just way too jank. Heat should not be given to the player every round. What I mean by this is that heat should be its own meter that fills up by attacking and blocking. Attacking would obviously build up more meter than just by sitting still and blocking. Also, a heat engager and holding forward similarly to a heat dash will automatically put you into heat with that amount of bar that you have already built up. So if you have 10% meter and hit a heat engager and opt to go into heat by holding forward, you got 10% heat. That's it for the round, if that makes sense. When you reach 100% bar heat, heat burst becomes an option that you can do to automatically go into heat like normal. This, in my opinion, is a much more interactive way to implement heat into this game and limits how much you can make use of a genuinely cracked mechanic. This change will naturally make the characters with better heat engagers stronger than the characters with bad ones, but I don't necessarily think that this is a bad thing because that's already kind of the case. Now, I think Heat Burst is in a good spot, so I'm not going to talk about it at all. However, Heat Smash is something that I will talk about. Heat Smash is super brain dead at all levels of play. I play Steve Fox, so I know firsthand what a bullshit Heat Smash looks like, right? And to be honest, fixing them is very straightforward. Heat Smashes should be entirely linear, for the most part. If your Heat Smash was to track, immediate -5 on block. So you can still keep your cringe heat smashes that give a free mix up on block, sure, but those have to be entirely linear. The whole thing. No second or third hit coming to clap me for no reason. Entirely linear. If you were to have a heat smash that tracks, straight -5. No questions asked. So as of now, Steve's heat smash would be -5. Of course, I would like if the frames on this could be character dependent, so maybe Jin is like -5 on block and like Dragunov is like -3, you know what I'm saying? I think this outright just fixes heat smash. You can't just YOLO this move out anymore because you could potentially get stepped or outright lose your turn. So this is pretty good in my opinion. I think it's really silly how Heat Dash universally gives +5. Like a lot of times, you're turning an already overpowered Heat Engager into a move that's +5. Makes no sense to me. I guess it's easy for players to understand, like, oh, my opponent just Heat Dashed, I'm at -5. But this genuinely needs to change. We can't be worrying about what a random Goryu is thinking when this happens to him, right? So simply make Heat Dash -. Of course, frames will be character dependent here as well. As a whole, I feel like these changes tones down the overall oppressive nature of heat, whilst not neutering the mechanic. Heat smashes are still strong, yet fair. How you build heat is based on your skill as a player and how you interact with your opponent. And Heat Dash, you can still do all the cool stuff like extending combos and getting launches or follow-ups off of your heat engagers and stuff, except they're much more balanced because they're worse on block, slightly. Now, when I was making this video, I kind of got sidetracked on this point because heat is such a big talking point. I went onto YouTube and looked up some pro games to see one thing and one thing only. How impactful is heat actually? And how much work were pro players really getting out of heat? And is reworking the heat mechanic really necessary to keep this game going? To see if there really is a difference between the way pros use heat and lower ranked players use heat. And where is heat stronger? My guess would obviously be low ranks, but stick around and see. Here you can see Ulslan uses Heat Burst to extend his combo to reach the wall, get a little wall combo, and now he's in a 50-50 position. Now he Heat Dashes into plus frames, So another 50-50. I think it's safe to say that from the time low high went to 30% health, it was just a straight guessing game directly related to heat. Very little interaction here. No heat used from either player this round, okay. Heat engager into plus frames. Steve's heat smash here does 50 damage into a floor break combo, so around 60% life from one heat interaction. Heat smash into plus frames. Now keep in mind guys, that both Dragunov and Steve both have very middling heat, if I'm being kind. Yet we have already seen 2 out of 3 rounds directly won because of universal heat mechanics. Just heat smash and heat dash. Now let's look at the lower ranked player. Heat engager into plus frames into successful 50-50. Leo is now in a guessing game. So this is now 50% plus health gone because Leo guessed wrong after getting hit with a plus 20 heat engager and got hit by heat enhanced hell sweeps. Leo here now gets hit with a buffed heat forward 2, which tracks better than the normal version, and because of heat dash, this move will now straight up launch. I don't think this guy knows the heat dash combo, but I'm sure that if he did, this would have just been straight dead Leo, and a round solely won because of heat. Both players here just didn't use heat correctly in my opinion. Heat engager into guess. Heat dash here keeps him safe from getting launched. Yeah, this guy doesn't know combos it seems, which is fine, you know, he is a red rank. Yeah, so surprisingly, it seems like heat is more broken in higher levels of play than it is in lower ranks. In higher ranks, heat literally won 2 out of 3 rounds. While in lower ranks, the Kazuya only won 1 round because of it. I just put this down to players really knowing how to utilize these mechanics efficiently, because Kazuya actually has OP heat, as demonstrated in that 1 round. So yeah, he still seems broken to me, at least if you rank up. But this was a little side note, so let's get back to the video. Since we're on things gameplay related, the next thing about this game that would need to be changed is the 50-50 stuff, right? And I don't really know how you would go about changing this because it's such a broad issue. You would have to go character by character adjusting these things. But what I will say is, I don't mind strong 50-50s in this game. What I do mind is everyone having strong 50-50s in this game, because it reduces the amount of neutral Tekken that gets played in this game, and I think that's a bad playing experience, but also a bad viewing experience. It also reduces the skill gap in this game immensely, which the devs have stated is essentially the plan. However, I'm just going to act like they never said that. I think that strong good 50-50s need to be character dependent and limited. So Kazuya and Lydia, you can keep putting your opponents into a blender, sure. But I don't know, Steve, you have no business spamming 50-50s, bro. Absolutely no business. That is not your character identity. That has nothing to do with you, right? Something that comes hand in hand with this is moves that are plus on block and stance transition. Get that shit the fuck out of my game. Literally the most skillless interaction in this game. Off the top of my head, Victor's running 2 I think is +5 on block into 50-50 for literally blocking. Get all that shit out of the game. Genuinely remedial gameplay. Get it done. And while we're at it, fix the tracking of moves in this game. I don't think this particular point needs to be explained that much, so Harada, just get it done, okay? Another super cheesy thing that is in this game that has been talked about since their inclusion and really haven't been touched too much are the safe, high, armored heat engagers. In my opinion, there is no place for this kind of move to be in the game. Nobody should have a move like this. I think that if any of the real top tiers had one of these, you would see way more complaints about them. But these armor moves are truly the most 3 things in this game. Like in a lot of ranks, you can just spam these and see if they stick, and you're just never going to get punished. Like even high level play, these moves are super spammable. Like armor moves cannot be safe. Even if they're high, the risk reward ratio just doesn't ever match up. Like your opponent needs to hard read to call out these moves, while you can just spam this move, and if your opponent clicks, you're in heat with a full bar. Super unbalanced and just needs to be removed. No amount of balancing other than making them unsafe will make a heat engager armor move balanced. It is as simple as that. Now, I have another gameplay issue that I don't think that most people are going to agree with me on or are expecting, because it has to do with a pretty scrubby mechanic, right? I think that rage arts should be steppable. Now hear me out. Rage art is obviously a comeback mechanic that you only have access to when you enter rage, when your health is at like 20%. Rage art is an armored move that is homing and can do like 30% of your opponent's health. I don't like rage arts because 1, it literally warps how you play the game as soon as your opponent reaches 30% health or 20% health, whatever it is. Every time you hard commit to something whilst your opponent is in rage, you face the threat of just dying for no reason. This 80% of the time is going to be just fine if your opponent YOLO rage arts. You can just block and they lose on the spot. But the 20% of the time that your opponent just YOLO rage arts to see if it sticks, and it does, it feels so undeserved. So make them steppable. It's just an added layer of counterplay to a move that doesn't actually have actual counterplay other than block. I don't feel too strongly about this though, so take it as you will, but I think it will at least be a cool change. But you know what? You guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do rage arts of all things need to be changed or not? Now, the only other issue that I have gameplay wise is the balancing of the top 5 or so characters in this game. There is a very clear gap between like the 6th best character and the 7th best character in this game. And just by nerfing those top tiers, everyone is already kind of balanced. Like Tekken 8 has the formula for a very balanced, yet still a very fun game. You just have to tone down the S+ tiers. I am going to be making a separate video on those top tier characters and exactly how to nerf those guys. So don't just think I'm giving like Blair suggestions and Blair answers, like no. I just want to go into this particular topic in depth more than the other topics that I'm going to talk about in this video. So moving on. Gameplay aside, there are still things that need to be addressed in this game. And I think the most important is the rank system in this game. I don't see a reason as to why green and yellow ranks are free and you don't lose points. I know it's like low ranks, I shouldn't really care, but I just find it really weird. Like, what's the point of even having those ranks if you're just handed them? You know what I mean? But anyways, as it stands, I think that the streak system, where if you win or lose 3 games in a row, you gain extra points to your rank or you lose extra points, just needs to be removed entirely. This system incentivizes one and dones, because you can just play hyper offensive, win, and leave before your opponent adjusts. Do that 3 times and you're streaking. This makes ranked extremely frustrating for people who actually want to learn the game, learn matchups, whatever. Because you're just going into ranked and seeing a whole bunch of people trying to cheese ranks, because that's actually the most efficient way of ranking up, other than just being completely superior to your opponent, which isn't even an option unless you're a smurf, right? Also, in higher ranks, those extra lost points are actually a death sentence. Like if you lose 3 games in a row, you're just cooked. Kiss your rank goodbye. And I think that's slightly too unforgiving, because like if you're TK and above, you're already losing a bunch of points for a single loss anyways, you know. So yeah, remove the streak bonus, or at the very least increase the amount of games it takes to hit this bonus. Something that is also somewhat related to this as well, it does have to do with the rank system at least, is just give us the option to deathmatch in ranked, right? Yes, I know the devs don't want players to farm just one person and rank up, but I personally have never got this stance. Because to get farmed, there has to be 2 agreeing parties. Like someone has to not mind getting absolutely cooked for 5 games in a row and losing their rank. Like I just don't get it. They've already implemented infinite rematch into quick play, so just put it into rank, bro. Stop being cringe. Death matches are the most straightforward way to learn matchups in Tekken. In Tekken 7, if I encountered a character that I struggled with and I encountered them in rank, as long as I labbed them somewhat, I wasn't leaving that game, even if I got my shit cooked, because I wanted to learn the matchup whilst playing the game. And I'm sure a lot of people would prefer this over the best of 2 format that we currently have. Next, completely remove the Prowess system. Don't rework, don't change, just delete it. It doesn't mean anything. It's not even a good indicator of your opponent's skill level. It just doesn't really do anything. For those of you who don't know, you gain prowess by ranking up and you get matched with other players in ranked with a similar prowess to you. The issue arises when you want to play multiple characters because this still increases your prowess but your rank isn't increasing. So what happens is that you end up playing against higher ranked players on their ults, which makes ranked way harder than intended just because you wanted to play a few extra characters. Also, when you reach around 240k prowess, which is usually around Tekken King, there's not a lot of players in these ranks, so you just end up playing god rank players on their ults anyways. So this system is broken. It was never a good system because it made ranks actually mean nothing, and it just doesn't work. It actually makes ranking up way harder than what it's supposed to be for a reason that isn't even really skill related. You're simply just going against people you have no business fighting. Prowess is really bad. I have been its biggest hater for a long time now. Just delete this shit, bro. It's literally a useless system. Big thumbs down. For now, I think that these are the main issues and how to fix them. I have been saying for months now that Tekken 8 has a strong blueprint for a very good game, potentially even better than previous games. It's extremely rough around the edges. There's nothing wrong with having an offense-orientated game, as long as it doesn't make other aspects of your game redundant, which is what Tekken 8 is currently dealing with all of the excessive plus frames, tracking, issues, etc. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video and want to see more, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that good shit. And until next time, guys.